guys, Real Toucher here, and before we start, make sure to just like the video and subscribe. Let's begin. Now, most people within the Jujutsu Kaisen community believe that Sukuna only won against Gojo because of Mahoraga, and that's understandable as Gojo's infinity is portrayed as being impenetrable, and Sukuna was able to get past it with Mahoraga. But Mahoraga wasn't the only way Sukuna was shown to be able to get past infinity. If you read the manga, in the beginning of the battle, Gojo and Sukuna are on par in strength as they battle, with Sukuna using domain amplification, which bypasses infinity. And Kusabe explains it perfectly right here, so just feel free to pause and read. Now, Sukuna is fighting using domain amplification, which has a drawback of not letting him use his curse technique. So the fight is basically at a stalemate right now, and that suddenly changes as Sukuna and Gojo unveil their domains. And Sukuna shatters Gojo's domain to bits and slices Gojo's neck. Like, he literally had this dude Gojo spamming heals, and the fight is basically in Sukuna's favor. And again, Gojo tries to use domain expansion, and Sukuna shatters it again. Then this guy Kashima was watching from the sidelines saying, bro, like, if Gojo loses, I got next, bro. Alright, so all jokes aside, this just shows how capable Sukuna is for fighting Gojo without Mahoraga. And now you're probably thinking, but later on in the fight, Gojo wins the clash after 5 tries and starts physically dominating Sukuna. What if I told you Sukuna wanted this to happen? It was all part of his plan. Because Sukuna purposely put himself at a disadvantage by turning off his domain amplification for his adaptation to develop. And he purposely let himself take a minimal amount of damage from Gojo, just so Mahoraga could adapt. Sukuna during the entire fight was literally just experimenting, which is why he was pulling his punches. I will get to that part later. So now, imagine if Mahoraga had died early on before Sukuna could adapt to be able to slash through space. Sukuna would just overall focus on his amplification or straight up revealing his true form. Which is what leads me to the point that Mahoraga was just an experimentation used by Sukuna that still happened to kill Gojo. Which is why Sukuna took many big risks and gambles, like letting himself take damage, which is actually the only reason Gojo even won a domain clash, because Sukuna took the gamble of healing himself after taking damage to reduce the burnout of his curse technique, which led to that 0.0001 second difference in letting Gojo win the domain. Now, I want you to just imagine a scenario if Sukuna just gave up on Mahoraga early on and just straight up popped his form. That 0.01 second difference that Gojo needed to win his domain would have never happened, and Gojo would have died. And that's just one of Sukuna's cards. Like, whether you like it or not, Sukuna was just experimenting and holding himself back, as shown in chapter 234 as Yuta wanted to interfere in the fight. Then Kusabe and Meimei start telling this idiot that Sukuna and Gojo's win conditions are different, as all Gojo needs to do is go full throttle and beat Sukuna. But if Sukuna wins, he still has to fight the rest of them, which leads Meimei and Kusabe, the smart people here, to come to the conclusion that Sukuna has an ace up his sleeve, which just adds on to the fact the overwhelming difference in power between Sukuna and Gojo and everyone else. So all in all, Sukuna chose the most high risk and high reward option against Gojo, that being, if he won, his curse technique would level up substantially, which is cutting through space itself, and the high risk is him taking critical hits that could have killed him. So if Sukuna were to fight, even without Mahoraga, the fight could have ended even faster, as Sukuna wouldn't even put himself at such disadvantages, and higher form is even stronger. So, but you know, Sukuna stands on business, he doesn't play it safe, so, and he didn't even have much to gain from that route, so that's why he took the high risk, high reward route, which ended up paying off. You know, like my boy Sukuna, you know, he's him, he's Sigma, he still won, he beat Gojo, and you know, it doesn't even matter anyways, because Hakusou's the worst. So feel free to like and subscribe.